So looking at your time at Partick Thistle to begin with, one of the more successful periods in your career in terms of matches played and goals scored, so must have been an enjoyable spell to look back on.
Yeah, most definitely. I've gone on record saying that, numerous times that, my time at Partick was, probably one of my most, successful and, most consistent, certainly in my performances. Definitely the first year when I signed, the first year back in the SPL for the club, and it was just a tremendous, season. The way we managed to stay up the last couple of games once the split happened, and just a great bunch of boys, a great club, and I really enjoyed my time when I was there. A bit saddened when I had to move on, but that's part and parcel of football. I've got nothing but respect for the club and the fans, and everything that about the club. So no, thoroughly enjoyable when I was there, and I still to this day look out for their results.
Before you joined Partick, you'd had a spell in Scottish football before with Falkirk, but what do you think maybe helped you thrive at Partick Thistle that allowed you to really kick on in your career?
I've just been, come off the back of, I'd signed for Huddersfield a few years previous to me, joining Partick, and, I hadn't really played, much football. I'd went out on loan a couple of times, and the loan moves didn't quite work out. And, so after speaking to the manager, it was Alan Archibald at the time, and, he made me feel really welcome and wanted, and that's always been a massive part of my career. If a manager makes me feel welcome, makes me feel wanted, and I always seem to, give back in performances and, helping the team out. And I think, that's what it was. It was just a consistent run of games, feeling wanted, feeling welcome at the club, and I was just happy that I could, contribute to the team on the pitch. And like I said, keep us in the league, which was a massive achievement for the club at that time in the club's position in the SPL was the main aim that season. And I thought I give a lot back to the team in that season, and delighted that we managed to stay up.
I remember your debut to this day in terms of your beach blonde hair and just coming on and looking to make an impact. You must have enjoyed your time at Dunfermline though.
No, I loved it. I've got really, fond memories of the time at Dunfermline. Still a club I hold, close to my heart. It's very much similar, coming off the back of, a disappointment season at Kilmarnock, fighting relegation, no really taking part in the relegation playoffs at Kilmarnock, to then, be told in my final year that I'm no longer wanted at the club. If I can find somewhere else, then it'd probably be best for both parties. And that's what I've done. I managed to come up with a settlement with Kilmarnock to leave early out my contract. And, I went into Dunfermline just to train, to keep fit, Bertie. And, things obviously progressed quite quickly. And the manager said he would like me to come in. And, that was that. I ended up signed a 1 year initially. And, as you say, I still remember my debut. I remember coming on, it was a cup game. I'm pretty sure it was Arbroath, mate. I'm not 100% certain. But, I just the minute I arrived at the ground and, I seen the facilities, I seen, the squad that they was building. I think they'd just been promoted from League One, and it was a club that was on the up, mate. I believe till this day, it's a club that deserves to be in the SPL with a fan base, etc. So, a very, very enjoyable time in my career, one that, I hoped at the time could, last longer, but, obviously managers change hands and, they want to go a different direction. And, I'm fine with that. That's part and parcel of football. No grudges will ever be held. And, I always look out for Dunfermline's results. And, hopefully they do well, mate. That's the bottom line of it. I always hope that they manage to do well. And, certainly my time at the club was certainly enjoyable, and, one that I'll always hold close to my heart, mate.
I think if you speak to any Dunfermline fan, they'll all say, in terms of memories in your 3 years at the Spell, spectacular goals, passion on the pitch, probably the infamous 2 penalties in a minute against Ayr United. I'm sure you'll not talk about that, but what's your memories though?
Like you said, mate, I always tried to give, 100% for the team every time I went onto that pitch. Probably, stick out memories for me are the goals at Falkirk Stadium. I would get absolutely dog's abuse from the Falkirk fans. And the rivalry between Dunfermline and Falkirk. It just on the day. It always seemed to grab a goal when we was playing at Falkirk Stadium, and the one where I scored at the opposite end from our fans, and I ran the full length of the pitch. That certainly sticks in the memory. And it was a wonderful day that day. We went on to win the game, and just delighted to once again. It didn't matter if I scored or not, mate. It was just part and parcel of being part of the team. And the main result on a Saturday was to try and get 3 points for the club. And just if I had any I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but any negative would be, no getting the club promoted. I think we made the playoffs on a number of occasions, and we just fell short on them occasions that we was in the playoffs. My aim was to, try and get the club back to the SPL, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that with my time there.
Your mentality, like I was touching on there, as someone that was always willing to stand up and be counted and be in the firing line, whether it be, a penalty, whether it be a free kick, or whether it just be taking the ball and trying to make something happen. But after you left Dunfermline, when you went to India, and that must have really tested your mental capabilities.
Yeah, it did, mate. That's to say the least. I obviously got released from Dunfermline. And I didn't have much. I had a few phone calls from managers, seeing what my situation was, etc., etc. And I wasn't in any rush to make, any rash decision. I was just going to let the summer pan out and see what would come at the end of the summer. But then I got a phone call to say, a team in India was interested, and I've had phone calls like that throughout my career from different countries, and nothing's ever materialised from it. But it's always been a burning desire of mine, Bertie, to try a different lifestyle, or try a different, country and a different culture, etc. And when that opportunity come up, and I knew that it was certain, there was definitely one to get me over there, then I just grabbed it with both hands. And what an experience it was, mate. But as time went on, and we got put into lockdown, etc., mate, the mental side of it was so draining, mate. I was missing my family, 2 young kids, and as the days and the weeks started to go by, mate, I really started to contemplate how we actually going to get home, mate. I think it was 10 weeks we was in lockdown, stuck in the hotel. We wasn't allowed out of the hotel grounds. So you can imagine it wasn't like prison, but it was, very, very similar. We had a little bit of space at the front of the hotel where we could get fresh air, etc. But there was days in that lockdown, Bertie, where I wouldn't even leave a room, mate. I was I wouldn't say depressed, but I was certainly down, mate. And when I was in that position, mate, I just thought, what, I'm not doing this anymore. And that's when I made the decision. There's more to life than just chasing the dream of football. I'd rather be at home with my family, and that's when I'm at my happiest, mate. And then I did come up to the decision that I need to start thinking for life after football, which ultimately came up with the decision to go part-time, and then chase a, I wouldn't say a dream, but chase a career in doing something else outside of football, which ultimately works hand in hand with going part-time. I get best of both worlds, mate, and I'm probably the happiest I've ever been in a long time regarding position in football and position in life, mate. So it's worked quite well, mate.
Going to Kelty, you've obviously been able to help them achieve their goal of coming up into the SPFL. It must have been another strange season for you in terms of not many games played in the Lowland League just because of the whole lockdown situation, but then going into the playoffs and being able to prove your worth. And then obviously now linking back up with another Pars fans' favourite in Joe Cardle at New Central Park, and experiencing another type of Fife derby on Saturday there against Kallum as well. Yeah,
just touching on on last season, getting promotion was absolutely wonderful for the club. Made history. first obviously squad to get the club into the SPFL, which was the aim at the beginning of the season. You know, the manager last year, Barry Ferguson, obviously put a squad together that I thought was you know, capable of winning the Lowland League, and you know, not through anyone else's fault. You know, for a long time, I didn't think we was going to get that opportunity. You know, we did manage to get that opportunity to play, you know, breaking through the playoffs, and you know, ultimately over the 2 legs, we deserve to go up. And you know, what an achievement for the club. You know, a club that's on the up in my view. And you know, now going into League Two, and you know, new manager coming in, you know, bringing his own players in. You know, as you mentioned, the likes of Joe Cardle and you know, Jordan Foster and a few other people that is brought in, you know, big names that, you know, should be standouts in League Two, but no, you know, none more so than Joe. I was so, you know, excited when I heard that he was, you know, going to be coming in. You know, we had a great relationship at Dunfermline. You know, we've always kept in touch. Once he left Dunfermline and I left Dunfermline, we've always, you know, stayed close friends. And you know, you can see on Saturday there when we played Cowden Beef, you know, he was fantastic in the game. You know, he scored the first goal in the club's history in the SPFL. So, you know, another little bit of history that he's managed to make. And I think every milestone, you know, that we hit now as a team and as a squad going forward for Kelty, it's just going to be, you know, fantastic. You know, a club that's wanting to go places, a club that's, you know, wanting to try and climb the leagues as quickly as they can. And, you know, I'm just delighted to be part of that. You know, it's been amazing since I signed there. And, you know, as you know, I've signed for 2 more years, and hopefully we can create more history on the way.